You recorded co-CEO of Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring, on a phone call.
Yep.
He says, I thought we were friends.
Yep.
A lot of people have said, wow, that was a messed up thing to do. It sounds like what you're saying in the context we were just talking, they sent you a business contract that was very bad, that penalized you 110% if all fees are applied, more money than they would actually pay you. And it didn't take into consideration if you made them more money. It didn't take into consideration how much money you made them. It didn't take into consideration if you were banned from Facebook, but Facebook generated no revenue. They still penalized you.
That's part of it.
So here's what I'm hearing. Here's what I'm thinking. If the question is, and I do have qualms about recording the recording, but we'll get into more detail. Mm-hmm. They say you were supposed to be friends. Why would you record your friend's phone call? Mm-hmm. Well, there's an interesting point to be made. Why would your friend send you a very, very bad contract that felt exploitative?
And why would a friend not listen to you when you say, take me off the table, it's not a fit? There was never, just to be clear, there was never another offer that came through after I said, these are the non-starters. The penalties for big tech, right? The owning of people's names, image, likeness, their platforms are in perpetuity long after they leave. I said, then we can talk about the money, right? He said they came in low, and I'm sure my gay Cuban hardcore right-wing agent came in high. You find that, but it's like, but there can't be any terms without this. Once I said that can't happen, these terms, the big tech penalties, that's when talks completely stopped. It was never changed and said, of course, all these, it's like you saw in their first video, we have to make money.
They outright said that fee structure couldn't be changed.
Yeah, there was never another offer after that. I said, look, this is the sticking point. You have to get rid of all of these.
Change it.
And also, we can't do this. I'd love to sit as from one business owner to another. You don't have to do it this way, right? A good example is, look, I feel vulgar talking about numbers. Election night. Okay, election night. We had been suspended for having Carrie Lake on. The entire Daily Wire cast on YouTube, less than a quarter of the viewers that we had on Rumble. When we cross streams, their viewership went up 40,000 people. That's proof of product that, hey, look, proof of concept. You can do it off of YouTube. You don't have to. Right. I think you use the platform as long as you can, but you need to start building alternatives. It is fundamental to the business model on the right to not change that.
And I'll just point out that we have about 120,000 more live viewers than we average with you being here. So there's something to be said for
I think
that.
Daily Wire's got some creative, like a lot of opportunity on their website. Because like if all your back catalog was on Daily Wire at no cost to anybody, and they could go into Daily Wire, log in, and then I spend 99 cents on a Crowder video, and then that money gets split between you guys. Like there's a lot of technical
Well, they're already going to be doing
possibilities.
over 300,000 Mug Clip subscribers day one, right? Now, the issue here is let's take me out of it. Let's say you're starting your own thing, right? You're trying to come up in this movement. And the terms are being set by people on your side behind the scenes where this is the ball that you have to play. I said to Jimmy, take me out of it. It's not the right fit, which I thought, if I don't have a dog in this fight anymore, it won't fall on deaf ears when I say, hey, it's about the next kid. This can't work. We can't have a movement. We can't sell our people out. And that's how I view it. Maybe you don't. They said, this is just a business. These are the terms. But there are alternatives. You don't have to be dependent on YouTube or Facebook. And you certainly shouldn't make it fundamental to your business model when you're telling people that you're fighting them. This has been going on for years.
Here's my
and not just Daily Wire, to be clear. Not just Daily Wire. Pick a name in the movement. Most likely, yes.
Here's my view of it. I think the Daily Wire does important work, good work. Mm-hmm. Candace Owens BLM documentary, I think, was good. What is a Woman, I think, was a massive success. That What is a Woman reached people that I know that aren't political, and that's a cultural force. So I think I talked with them. We had a meeting. I sat down with Jeremy, with a few of the other guys, but mostly with Jeremy. Jeremy came on the show. Mm-hmm. Afterwards, he said, "Hey, if there's anything you ever need, let us know. Thanks for having me on." And I was like, "I'll hit you up sometime." We talked about doing Nashville Week because we wanted to try out our new mobile studio. Then while we're in the process of setting this up, I said, well, let's talk. I mean, is there a way we can maximize the effectiveness of our operations? You guys are way bigger than us.
Of course.
But of course, there could be an opportunity that we don't understand that you do. And so we started talking about a variety of different things.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it came to potential terms. It came to requirements. Of all the businesses I've ever negotiated with, the most real, in my opinion, was with Jeremy. It was like I was talking to an actual human being who knew what he meant, who explained the pitfalls, the pros and cons. Look, if we do a deal like this, you're right, it's going to suck because of that reason. That's true. What do you think? And I said, I don't know if that's going to work for us. The joke is, I actually said, what if I want to put up a billboard that says Liz Cheney's a fat pig? And he was like, that's not us. Like, we're not. And I
You
said,
couldn't find one big enough?
right. But I said, like, I'm not literally going to do that. I feel it is kind of crude saying that point. But the point I'm trying to make is that we're roguish. We want to do weird things.
Yeah.
The ultimate conclusion was, then there's maybe we can't work transactionally together. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, but we'll do other cool stuff.
Sure.
We'll talk with your guys on our shows. We'll have you on. You can come on. This will be really great for everybody. And so my view was like, I agree with you on the contract stuff.
But why did it really fall apart?
Why did
it completely fall apart?
Like the deal with the.
In other words, what you're saying is they were saying you need to be in this box because it's not about the billboard. Let's be honest. It's not just about the billboard. If you're
the billboard was the box. It was like if I wanted to do something that was aggressive and more shocking, the billboard is that point.
Yeah.
I don't want to put up a billboard calling Liz Cheney a fat pig.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Did they do the thing where they said we tried to look at outside capital for you for the first time? We couldn't make it work. They didn't do that. They didn't do that.
I don't want to. I don't want to give up too much of the details of the conversation we had.
Of course.
But I basically said, let's just say I made a big ask of the biggest asks. That if what you're saying, it has to be this way, then I have a very, very big ask. And they were like, yeah, that's expensive. I don't know if we can do that. And I was like, look, ultimately what it comes down to is, for those that understand tabletop RPGs, they play Paladin, I play Rogue. Someone commented in Super Chat.
I don't understand the reference.
But I'll explain right now.
Do you not?
Someone Super Chatted, they're trying to be rebels within the box.
They're warriors of God. That's a paladin.
Basically, think of a stoic monk, a knight following the rules, holding his sword, saying, look, the rules are as such. We will do right to the best of our abilities. Whereas we here at Timcast are like a bunch of crackpots in the bandits' forest being like, we're going to do what we want to do when we
That's
feel
like the
like
Lost Boys out here. It's a skate
see?
park, and
You
it's like
see?
a bunch of mopeds, and I thought you were going to throw a basketball in my face, ask me to play. I wanted to yell a bang ring.
I did bring you to the basketball court.
You did?
Yeah,
I meant
so-
the VIP up the half pipe. Yeah, I would
right.
agree with you. Here's the problem. When you have a few, because it's, again, this is not about the Daily Wire. There are a few key companies that control what is permissible in this movement. And these few key companies are saying, this is the only way. I'm saying there could be many ways. It would be one thing if we're saying, hey, maybe this way, maybe this other way. But now this sort of reeks of, why don't you go and create your own YouTube? Why don't you go and create your own? Find billionaire investors to give you seed money.
Yep.
Well, how do you do that when then, this happens a lot, ideas are stolen, and then millions pumped behind it to promote it as though it seems original, and then they steal your talent, who you foster. You've probably had this happen. I've had it happen with dozens of people. The picture I sent you of people working at our company, there's at least 4 or 5 there who worked for me. They were young. Other big networks in this space came in, offered them a bunch of money. I said, look, I'm not going to keep you. I give you a letter of recommendation. After 6 months, they come back.
So I wanted to address what you were just saying about these companies playing by the rules. That's completely my experience with a lot of these different companies, is that big tech is clearly infiltrated by, you look, Alan Bakari, I think it was, got his hands on that Google video where they were crying that Trump won. This is Google. I love this. On my Wikipedia, it says Tim Pool, maintains that there's a bias in big tech against conservatives or whatever.
Sure.
And I'm like, no, I don't. I read a Gizmodo article from 2016 that said Facebook was suspending conservative news outlets.
I was in there.
Yeah.
That's how I met my half-Asian lawyer, Bill Richmond. He read the article, and he was like, yeah, it's like the Chris Kyle Foundation, Ted Cruz for president, and you need some representation. I was like,
They act like it was a smear against me, that I was pushing conspiracy theories when I was literally reading the left news sources. Right. So anyway.
And Luke saying, told you.
They set these terms, these big tech companies. And then what happens is the leftist organizations clearly say the stupidest and craziest things. ChatGPT, the AI bot? It was, I think, Jack Posobiec who asked it, or he tweeted this out, when asked, did Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow spread COVID misinformation? It says, no, they didn't. And it was like, well, they did. Literally, we know for a fact they did.
Yes.
And then it goes on and says, well, while they acknowledge some mistakes, no. The whole machine is skewed in that direction. What happens then is big tech company, I shouldn't say big tech, I'm sorry, many of these big conservative outlets, I shouldn't even say necessarily conservative outlets, but many of these companies are just like, we're going to set the parameters right here because we're gonna be within the box. We're gonna be rebels in the box.
This is the problem, and I'm finding why I think Candace was pissed too, is that when we refer to companies doing thing, and what happens is the company is a hologram. It doesn't have any availability or any ability to do anything. The people, so when you're negotiating, for instance, it comes out, Steven Crowder negotiating with the Daily Wire, quote.
Right.
And that brings all these other Daily Wire employees into it. Like, they were getting messages, Candace was, Michael knows, on their chats, and they're like, now I'm involved because it was between you and Jeremy Boring,
We don't have to
Ben
be involved,
Shapiro. There's actually 4 owners to the Daily Wire: Ferris Wilkes and Caleb Robinson, owned by Bent Key Ventures. So you're only in negotiation with 4 people. If we stop saying YouTube is doing this, we're going to get a lot more accurate in the people. Who's doing it? Who's using YouTube as a filler?
Yeah.
I want to know. And also that leaves out unnecessary collateral damage.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying, it's like they send out on YouTube, you know this, they send out representatives to conservatives, and they're patsies for the higher-ups. But when you get coming back to you time and time again, you know, if you did what company X, if you did what company, meaning big conservative companies who have meetings with them, if you did that, we might be able to get you remonetized or at least not suspended. And that's what, I mean, this is the thing.
Is there any examples you could give us about key issues specifically about that?
Yeah, anything relating, you know, back in the day on trans issues. You know, for example, we had a character like we did for a long time. Trenny Bain was a character that we did. It was Bain Dark Knight series, and the whole idea was an uprising, you know, Arkham Asylum against YouTube. They said you can't do that anymore. There was one where they said you can't sell off-site the socialism shirt that we had, which wasn't even on YouTube. The socialism was for fig shirt. You don't want to know the funny story about that? I've never seen John laugh so hard. Was we started selling on the website because socialism is for figs. It's a play on words. You may not like it, but people also need to know Che Guevara executed gays, right? This is a guy, when you wear a Che Guevara shirt, you're wearing a Hitler who was less successful in being charismatic and duping people. Not saying Hitler was successful. I'm saying he was a genocidal maniac. So, of course, we're mocking him. YouTube says, well, you can't do that. That shirt is hate speech. It's off the platform. So what we ended up selling at the Crowder shop was a mystery box. And I get a call from one of the most senior executives at YouTube, and I go, what? They go, we know what's in the box. I was like, I'm thinking someone in Silicon Valley is opening it like, and so we stopped selling. But that's something that's completely off the platform. But the point is, right, there needs to be someone standing up to these giant organizations. And when you say, like Jeremy said in his video, well, you know, we only met with Susan Wojcicki once, and we were really going in and defending Steve. I say, okay, hold on a second. Are you the biggest, most influential, fastest growing conservative network in the world, or did you spend time going in and fighting for the little guy and were completely ineffectual? You can't have both. One of those things is true. The inconsistencies are the issue here, and that's a tactic of the left. Here's, I fully expect them to come out and say, this is a lie, this is a lie. Switch the narrative from the phone call, switch the narrative from the money. Now that that's gone, probably a hit list like the Vox Adpocalypse, probably get personal. This is why people don't speak out. This is why good people don't run for office. And we shouldn't be doing that on the right.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.